My family ignored me for 5 years while spoiling my golden brother, then I won $1.7 million, and suddenly they loved me again. They demanded a cut, so I taught them a brutal lesson and watched their lives fall apart without my help. So let me start this by saying, I was never the favorite. My parents made that clear from the moment my younger brother, Jake, was born. Mike was the oops baby, they had too young. But Jake? He was their miracle child, their golden boy. He got everything, love, attention, money, while I got blamed for anything that went wrong. It only got worse when we got older. Jake was the star quarterback in high school, got a brand new car at 16, and my parents paid for his college in full. Meanwhile, I was working 2 jobs to barely scrape by. And when I finally moved out, they didn't even care. No calls, no visits. 5 years of radio silence. But guess what? I just won the lottery. $1.7 million. Yeah, life's got a funny way of working things out. The best part? My parents had no idea. Until they suddenly showed up at my door. I hadn't heard from them in years, but now, here they were, standing on my porch like nothing happened. My mom, Karen, yes, her real name, fitting, right? Gave me this big fake smile and said, "Hey, dear son! It's been so long!" I just stood there, arms crossed, waiting for whatever BS excuse they had for ghosting me. Jake was standing behind them, arms crossed like he was mad about something. My dad, Richard, just gave me a nod like we were old pals. I knew exactly why they were here. And I was about to have some fun with it. I leaned against the doorframe, staring at my parents like they were a couple of door-to-door salesmen. "Wow," I said, dragging out the word. 5 years. Not a single call, text, or even a birthday card. But now suddenly you show up at my door all friendly? My mom, Karen, laughed like I just told a joke. "Oh, sweetheart, don't be silly. We've just been so busy." Busy. Right. Busy pretending I didn't exist. Jake, my golden brother, scoffed and rolled his eyes. "Are you seriously still mad about that? Dude, get over it." Oh, I wanted to deck him right then and there. But instead I smirked. "Oh, I'm over it. In fact, I'm doing great. Which you know if you ever bothered to check in." My dad, Richard, clapped a hand on my shoulder like we were close. "We were actually just in the neighborhood and thought we'd stop by." "Uh-huh," I said, not buying it for a second. What a coincidence. I could see my mom's patience wearing thin, but she kept up the act. "Anyway, sweetheart, how have you been? What's new with you?" And that's when I saw it. The quick glance Jake gave to my mom. The tiny smirk that flashed across her face before she masked it. They knew. Somehow, someway, they knew about the lottery. Now the real game was about to begin. I wasn't about to make this easy for them. So I shrugged. "Oh, you know. Just working. Living life. Nothing too exciting." Karen's eyes narrowed. "Really? Because we heard you had a little stroke of luck recently." Bingo. I tilted my head. "Oh? And where'd you hear that?" Jake scoffed. "Dude, it's all over Facebook. Someone posted about you winning the lottery." Of course. Small-town gossip at its finest. Mom's fake smile stretched wider. "We were so happy for you, sweetheart. And you know, we just wanted to reconnect. Family is so important, don't you think?" I nearly laughed. Family? The same family that forgot I existed for 5 years? I rubbed my chin like I was thinking. Yeah, family is important. Like, say, remembering birthdays. Checking in. Being there for each other. Stuff like that, right? Karen's smile twitched. "Oh, honey, don't be dramatic." "Dramatic?" I let out a laugh. "You ignored me for 5 years. Now I've got money, and suddenly, I'm dear son again? Come on, at least try to be subtle about it." Jake rolled his eyes. "Dude, stop being so bitter. You should be happy to share your success with your family." Oh. There it was. They weren't even hiding it anymore. They wanted a cut. I crossed my arms. "Let me guess, you want money?" Mom gasped, all offended. "Michael! How could you even say that?" Jake, on the other hand, didn't bother pretending. He smirked. "Well, now that you mention it." I smiled back. This was going to be fun. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, watching them squirm. Jake was the first to break. He sighed dramatically, like I was the unreasonable one. "Look, man, you won $1.7 million. You don't even need all that. Mom and Dad have been struggling, you know." "Struggling?" That was rich. Last I checked, they had no problem paying for Jake's college, buying him a new car, and taking fancy vacations while I was working double shifts just to afford rent. Karen nodded, putting on her best sad mom face. Sweetheart, we just thought maybe, just maybe, you could help your family out. We raised you, after all. I raised an eyebrow. You raised me? That's funny because I remember raising myself while you two were busy worshipping Jake. My dad, Richard, who had been quiet until now, finally spoke up. Michael, don't be selfish. This is a blessing, and it should be shared. We're not asking for much. Just enough to help us out a little. Maybe $250,000? I actually laughed. $250,000? Are you serious? Jake scoffed. Dude, that's barely a fraction of what you won. You'd still be rich. Yeah? I smirked. And what about you, Jake? Let me guess, you need money too? Jake smirked right back. Well, since you're asking. I was thinking maybe $100,000? You know, just to get started. Maybe a new car, some investments. I couldn't believe the audacity. 5 years of ignoring me, and now they were standing on my porch, demanding hundreds of thousands of dollars like I owed them. I let the silence drag on before finally saying, Tell you what. Let me sleep on it. Karen beamed. Oh, of course, sweetheart. Take your time. Little did they know, I already had a plan. And they weren't going to like it. After my dear long-lost family left, I sat down and thought about how I wanted to play this. Giving them money was out of the question. I wasn't about to reward 5 years of neglect with a fat paycheck. But just saying no wasn't enough. No, I wanted them to feel what I felt all those years. Ignored. Forgotten. Unimportant. So I came up with a little plan. The next day, I called my mom. Hey Mom, I've been thinking about what you said. She perked up immediately. Oh, sweetheart, I knew you'd do the right thing. Yeah. I said. I realize you're right, family is important. So, I'd love to get everyone together for a nice dinner. My treat. Let's meet at that fancy steakhouse you guys love. You know, the one I was never invited to when you went out with Jake. She hesitated for a second but then quickly agreed. That sounds wonderful, honey. We'll see you tonight. Perfect. That night, I walked into the restaurant dressed sharp, feeling like $1,000,000, because, well, technically, I was a millionaire now. My parents and Jake were already seated, grinning like they just won their lottery. Michael. My mom beamed. We're so happy you're doing this for us. I smiled back. Of course. Anything for family. The night went exactly as I expected. They ordered the most expensive dishes, top-shelf wine, appetizers, desserts, you name it. Jake, of course, went all out, bragging about how he was looking at new sports cars. You know, he said between bites of steak. I was thinking a Porsche, but maybe I'll go for a BMW. What do you think, bro? I smirked. I think you should get whatever your budget allows. He laughed. Well, that depends on how generous you're feeling. I just nodded and kept eating. Then came the moment I'd been waiting for, the check. The waiter placed the bill on the table, and I reached for it dramatically. My mom and dad watched me like hawks, probably expecting some grand gesture. Instead, I glanced at the total, $800, whistled, and slid the bill across the table to my dad. Thanks for dinner, Dad, I said with a grin. I really appreciate you covering this. Their smiles vanished instantly. Karen's mouth fell open. What? Richard coughed. Wait, son, we thought you were paying. I shrugged. Oh no. See, I've been doing some thinking. And you're right, Mom. Family takes care of each other. And well, for the last 5 years, you guys have taken such good care of me, so I figured it was my turn to let you return the favor. Jake slammed his fork down. Dude, what the hell? I leaned in. Oh, I'm the bad guy. I think it's fair. After all, I got so much love and support from you all when I was struggling, right? Karen's face turned red. Michael, this isn't funny. You're right, I said, standing up. It's hilarious. Then I patted Jake on the back. Enjoy your Porsche, little bro. And with that, I walked out, leaving them scrambling for their wallets. Round 1? Me. But I wasn't done yet. I walked out of that restaurant grinning ear to ear, picturing the absolute meltdown happening at that table. $800 was nothing compared to the $350,000 they wanted from me, but it was a damn good start. But I wasn't done. Oh no. That was just the appetizer. The next morning, my phone started blowing up. Karen. Michael, that was incredibly immature. You embarrassed us. Jake. Bro, that was a D***ck move. You're literally rich. Grow up. Richard. Son, we need to talk. Call me. I ignored every single one. Let them stew. But I knew my family. They weren't just going to give up after one bad night. And sure enough, 3 days later there was a knock at my door. I opened it to see Karen and Richard standing there, all smiles, like the restaurant fiasco never happened. Michael. My mom said sweetly. We just want to clear the air. Can we come in? I should have slammed the door in their faces. But I was having too much fun. I stepped aside. Sure. Make yourselves at home. Oh wait, you already act like you own the place. They ignored that and sat on my couch, glancing around. Probably realizing this wasn't the same crappy apartment they ignored 5 years ago. My new place was nice. High ceilings, leather couches, giant flat screen, the works. My dad let out a fake chuckle. You've done well for yourself, son. Yeah, I said, sitting across from them. Crazy what you can accomplish when you don't have parents dragging you down. Karen's eye twitched, but she kept her sweet mom act going. Michael, let's be serious. We don't want any tension between us. We're family. And families should support each other. Here it comes. Which is why, she continued, we wanted to bring up a business opportunity. I nearly choked on my own laughter. A what? Richard nodded. Your mother and I have been thinking of opening a little bed and breakfast. Something cozy. But we need a bit of help with the investment. I leaned forward. And by help you mean my money. Karen had the audacity to look offended. Sweetheart, it's an investment. You'd own part of it too. I raised an eyebrow. Oh really? And how much were you thinking? My dad cleared his throat. We were thinking $500,000. I actually burst out laughing. They weren't even hiding it anymore. I stood up. Let me get this straight. 5 years of silence. 5 years of watching me struggle while you pampered Jake. And now, the second I have money, you suddenly want me to be part of the family again? Karen's fake smile cracked. Michael, don't be like this. Oh, I'm exactly like this. I shot back. And you know what? I love the idea of investing. Their eyes lit up. So, I continued, I did make an investment. Just nodding you. The color drained from Karen's face. What? I grinned. Yeah. I actually put $300,000 into a startup. Jake's ex-girlfriend's startup. You remember Lisa, right? My dad's jaw clenched. Jake and Lisa had one of the messiest breakups in history, and she hated my family, especially my mom. Karen's mouth fell open. You what? I shrugged. Well, unlike some people, she actually supports me. And her business? It's gonna be huge. Karen shot up. Michael, you listen to me. But I was already walking to the door. Oops, looks like our family meeting is over. Have a great day. And with that, I slammed the door in their faces. Round 2? Also me. But trust me. I was just getting started. I barely had time to enjoy the satisfaction of slamming the door in my parents' faces before my phone started blowing up. Jake. Dude, are you serious? You gave Lisa $300K? Jake. You're a f***ing joke. Asterisk. Jake. Call me. Now. I smirked. Oh, this was too good. Instead of calling him, I sent back. Miss her that much, huh? Not even a minute later my phone rang. I answered, putting him on speaker just to hear the rage in his voice. You're a f***ing traitor! Jake exploded. Good to hear from you too, little bro. I said, leaning back on my couch. What's the problem? Thought you didn't care about my money? You gave it to Lisa. He practically growled. You know she still talks **T about our family, right? I chuckled. You mean the family that forgot I existed for 5 years? Yeah, I think I'll survive. Jake huffed, trying to regain control. Dude, be real. Lisa's a joke. Her stupid business is never gonna take off. She's just using you. I pretended to think. Kinda like how you and Mom and Dad are trying to use me now. Dead silence. Then Jake muttered. You're such a petty bitch, dude. I laughed. Oh, I absolutely am. And you know what? It feels great. You're gonna regret this. Jake spat. I swear, when I start my own business, I'm gonna make millions without your dumb money. That's cute, I said. But how's that gonna work when your credit is garbage and mom and dad are broke? Another silence. I was really on a roll tonight. Finally, Jake let out a bitter laugh. Alright, you wanna play games? Fine. But don't come crying to me when Lisa screws you over. Noted, I said. Hey, quick question, what kind of car are you driving these days? Jake sounded confused. My Mustang. Why? I grinned. Just wondering how it feels to know your ex is about to be driving a brand new Porsche thanks to me. You. I hung up before he could finish. Round 3? Oh yeah, that's me again. But trust me, the grand finale was coming. And it was going to be legendary. After hanging up on Jake, I knew one thing for sure, this wasn't over. My parents were shameless. Jake was entitled as hell. They weren't just gonna walk away and accept defeat. No, they were gonna come back harder. So, I decided to get ahead of them. I called up Lisa. Well, if it isn't the black sheep turned millionaire. She answered, laughing. What's up, Mike? You busy? I asked. Never too busy to hear about how I ruined Jake's week, she said. Spill. I told her everything, how my family ghosted me for years, how they suddenly showed up once they heard about my lottery win, how Jake lost his mind when he found out I invested in her business. Lisa laughed so hard she almost choked. That is golden. Yeah, but I'm not done yet, I said. I need your help for the next part. Oh, I like where this is going, she said. What's the plan? I told her. And she loved it. The next day, I made another phone call, to my parents. I faked the most defeated voice I could. Mom! Dad! Can we talk? Karen's voice immediately softened. Of course, sweetheart. We just want to help you. Yeah. I sighed. I think I made a huge mistake. I shouldn't have given Lisa that money. I swear I could hear the excitement in her voice. Oh, honey, we knew she was using you. Richard chimed in. It's not too late to fix this, son. You just have to make smarter choices. I know, I said. That's why I want to meet up. I need your advice. Karen was practically giddy. Of course, sweetheart. Let's do dinner, our treat. Perfect. They had no idea I was about to pull the rug right out from under them. I walked into the restaurant that night, putting on my best defeated and desperate face. Karen and Richard were already seated, looking smug as hell. Michael, sweetheart. Karen cooed, acting like she hadn't just tried to shake me down for $500,000 days ago. We're so glad you called. Richard nodded, all fake wisdom. Son, everyone makes mistakes. What matters is that you learn from them. I sighed dramatically, rubbing my face like I was really struggling. Yeah. I messed up. Lisa totally scammed me. I gave her $300,000, and now she's ghosting me. Karen gasped, clutching her chest like she was on a soap opera. Oh, honey! We warned you! Richard leaned forward. You need to cut your losses and move on. And, he cleared his throat. Maybe next time, invest in family instead of some gold-digging ex. I forced myself not to grin. Oh, these two were eating this up. I took a deep breath. That's actually why I called you guys. I want to make it right. Karen's eyes practically sparkled with greed. Oh, sweetheart, that's very mature of you. Yeah, I mumbled. I was thinking. I should have listened to you. I want to invest in the family. Maybe even that bed and breakfast idea? If my mother had pearls, she would have clutched them. Oh, Michael! That would be amazing! Richard nodded like he was some wise businessman. It's a smart move. We know how to handle money. I nearly laughed at that. Sure, Dad. That's why you were sweating over an $800 dinner bill. Yeah, I said. But there's just one thing. Karen tilted her head. Of course, sweetheart. Anything. I sighed, pretending to hesitate. Well, since I just lost $300,000 to Lisa, I want to make sure this is a good investment. So I need to see your financial records first. You know, just to be safe. Silence. The fake smiles froze on their faces. Financial records? Karen echoed. Yeah, I said. Bank statements. Debts. Any outstanding loans. Just so I know what I'm walking into. Richard shifted in his seat. Well, we weren't expecting that level of involvement. Oh, come on, I said. You'd be fine showing that to a bank, right? And I'm your son. If you've got nothing to hide, it shouldn't be a problem. Karen opened her mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. She was panicking. I smiled. Checkmate. Karen forced a laugh. Sweetheart, we don't need to do all that. We're family. I shrugged. Right. And family should be honest, yeah? Richard cleared his throat. Well, we've had some small financial setbacks. How small? I asked. Silence. Karen suddenly grabbed my hand. Michael, honey, let's not get caught up in technicalities. The important thing is, you're broke, aren't you? I cut in. Her face twitched. Richard sighed. Jake, who had been quiet the whole time, muttered. This is bullshit. I leaned back, smiling. Gotcha. Karen's face twisted into something nasty. Michael, don't be rude. We're just asking for a little help. Help? I repeated. Or a bailout? Richard sighed, rubbing his temples. Fine. Yes. We're in debt. Happy? Jake groaned. This is so stupid. Just give them the money, dude. You have millions. I raised an eyebrow. Funny, Jake. Where was this energy when I was broke and you were getting brand new cars? Silence. Karen pursed her lips. Michael, we need this. You wouldn't let your family struggle, would you? I smirked. Oh, you mean like how you let me struggle? Her face turned red. She had nothing to say. Checkmate. Again. Karen's fake patience finally snapped. Michael, stop being so selfish. We're your parents. We raised you. I chuckled. Oh? You mean the way you raised me while spoiling Jake rotten? The way you ignored me for 5 years? Jake scoffed. Dude, let it go. You're rich now. It's not a big deal. I turned to him. All right then. Since it's not a big deal, why don't you cover Mom and Dad's debt? Jake's mouth opened, then closed. Richard frowned. Jake doesn't have that kind of money. Oh? I said mockingly. So my money is family money, but his isn't? Dead silence. Karen's face twisted in frustration. They knew they lost. And I was about to make it worse. Karen clenched her fists. Michael, you owe us. We're the reason you even exist. I laughed. Wow. That's your argument? We gave birth to you, so now you have to pay us? Richard sighed. Son, this is your chance to prove you're the bigger person. I grinned. Oh, I am the bigger person. That's why I'm not rubbing it in your faces that I just bought a new house. Paid in full. Karen's jaw dropped. You what? Jake slammed his fist on the table. You're such a D***K, man. I stood up, tossing a few bills on the table. Here, cover the drinks. That's all you're getting from me. Karen's face turned red with rage. Michael, you come back here right now. I smirked. Nah. You guys have a business to run, right? Good luck with that. And with that I walked out. Game over. I barely made it to my car before my phone started blowing up. Jake. You think you're so f***ing smart, huh? Asterisk. Jake. You're nothing without that lottery money. Jake. You'll regret this, bro, watch. I just laughed and blocked his number. But Jake wasn't done. The next morning, I got an email from my bank. Someone tried to access my account. And I had a pretty good guess who. So, I made one last call to Lisa. Hey, I said. You still want to help me ruin Jake's life? She didn't even hesitate. Absolutely. It was time for the grand finale. Lisa didn't even need details, she was all in. Jake trying to scam you now? She asked. Looks like it, I said. Tried to get into my bank account. She laughed. Pathetic. Lucky for you, I still have plenty of dirt on him. Turns out, Lisa had receipts. Texts, emails, proof that Jake had racked up debt gambling, cheated on his college exams, and even borrowed money from our parents without paying them back. So, we put that info to good use. Lisa leaked everything. She made a fake account, blasted it all over social media, and even sent an anonymous tip to my parents' creditors about their mysterious attempt to open a business with no income. Within days, it all fell apart. Jake's reputation? Destroyed. My parents? Drowning in financial trouble. And me? Sitting back with a drink, watching the chaos unfold. A week later, Karen left me a final voicemail. "Michael, you've ruined this family. I hope you're happy." I smiled as I deleted it. "Yes, Mom. I really am."